blow on him. Give a round of applause to my guy Weezy. Come on! Give it to him, big boy.
Hey, thank everybody for coming. Before we get started, I work outreach. If you're 12 to 24 years old, or if you're a parent that wants your kids to join our program, please sign up on the sign-up sheet.
There you go.
Damn, bro, you got me going advertising. That's a hard act to follow. All right, let me drop this on y'all real quick. When we look at our children from the very first moment they're born, our vision for them is endless. In that moment, we acknowledge their limitless potential and dream of them becoming better than we were. Never growing up the way that we did or living the lifestyle that we live. In that moment, there's nothing you wouldn't do to ensure your child's survival. In that moment, the love for your child is unconditional. I grew up in a situation similar to a lot of yours. Poverty, incarceration, gangbanging, drug dealers, and drug addicts. But despite all the issues, there wasn't any less hope for my situation. What I want to know is, when does that change? When do we as parents give up hope for our child's future? Today I'm here to speak to you about youth homelessness, one of the biggest issues to hit our community. Every year, 4.2 million youth and young adults ages 13 and 25 experience homelessness. 200 of which are unaccompanied minors, meaning they're not a part of a family or accompanied by a parent. Right? LGBTQ youth are twice as likely to experience homelessness as their white counterparts. Latinx youth are 33% as likely to experience homelessness as their white counterparts, and black youth are 83% more likely to experience homelessness as their white counterparts. Right? I want that to resonate with you guys, right? Never once, when we had those dreams and aspirations for our child, did we imagine that they would end up homeless. When we think about homelessness, our mind automatically goes to people who live on the streets. But this perception has to be changed. The correct terminology for someone living on the street should be houseless. And when we're considering the youth that are houseless, it's a very small percentage. We come from a culture that states it takes a village to raise a child. Growing up for me, my household modeled that. But never once did I consider when me and my cousins were couch surfing house to house that we were homeless. The dictionary defines a home as a place of permanent residence. Right? Especially as a member of a family or a household. Growing up for me, this wasn't something that I identified with. Which is why awareness is essential to fixing this issue for two reasons. The first of which is identification. Right? No matter what you're going through currently or what you've been through, until it's been identified, you'll never be able to overcome it. The second is education. Right? By being educated, we'll be more aware of the youth that are dealing with this experience, and we'll be able to advocate and get them the resources they need to elevate out of this experience. Which brings me to another issue, right? How do we expect the individuals who are watching over these youth to advocate for them and get them resources when they don't know how to get resources themselves? Right? These youth come from broken homes and multiple hardships. Their parents are dead, have been in prison, struggle financially, are addicted to drugs, are dealing with mental health issues. And because of that, these kids are left abandoned, but it's as if nobody wants to acknowledge what these youth are going through, right? Do you know how it feels to feel unwanted? Do you know how it feels to know that it's only a matter of time before you're kicked out again? I don't know about you, but anytime that I've ever stayed at anybody else's house, I had to walk on eggshells for fear of being put out again. So answer me this question. How is a youth supposed to be productive in school when they don't have a stable living environment? How is a youth not supposed to act out or get into trouble when their mindset is, it's going to happen again anyway? Right? If you could acknowledge what these youth are going through for 1 second and put your feet in these shoes, then you would know that the only way to embrace one of these youth is with love. And we know kids spell love T-I-M-E. And we also know that time doesn't go by without struggle. We're dealing with youth that come from foster care, youth that are runaways, youth that rather not go home for fear of being abused or sexually assaulted, youth that are kicked out because they're pregnant or just don't feel comfortable in their own skin, or youth such as me who wanted to make my own rules. These youth are tasked with providing for themselves and fending for themselves. These youth are underloved and unnurtured. These youth have given up hope. And this is why we need to band together to fix this issue. I'll leave y'all with this. Acknowledge these youth and what they're going through. Be empathetic to their situation. And also build these community relationships with boards like us, progress pushers, so we can facilitate you guys getting these resources in this housing. And last but most definitely not least, always lead with love.
Come on.